The ultimate deck podcast. Need a show about outdoor living? This is where it's at. With your hosts, Shane Chapman and Way Laurent. Thank you for tuning in. Now let the show begin. Yeah. The ultimate deck podcast. Let's go.
We're back. Like how many times can we make a comeback episode where it's like, hey,
if you take 6 months in between,
it's been a while, so hey, we're back again. Shane and Wade here from the Ultimate Deck Podcast. I don't know what episode number it is. We're just winging it today. I don't care anymore because we haven't been doing this reliably enough to be counting along anyway.
and the system that we had for counting was all messed up anyways. It was like we had sponsored ones and we had not sponsored ones, and we had like that Scott Kelly episode. That guy went on and on and on, and
That
it was
was
he
a
turned
6-part series.
3. It was like a mini series that we had. So anyways,
Yeah, so we're not going to bother with that anymore. If you want to know, just look it up. Like it says on your Apple podcast app right there. So,
maybe we should just name them instead.
speaking of Scott Kelly, are you there, Scott?
I am here.
Welcome back. It's been a minute.
It's been too long.
I don't know when we recorded that one, but it feels like at least 116 episodes ago, like a year ago or something. A little bit of, no, probably
It's over a year ago. Yeah, I should have looked it up. Actually.
Over a year ago.
It was one of the greats, though. It was one of the most well listened to. I just realized, like, after we started this, that our guy that's helping out here can't hear you. You're part of the conversation here. He's like, I'll sit in today and see how this goes. And it's like he gets to hear 2 out of 3 voices today. Like, unless you can find some headphones, Vorfa, and then we can plug you in. Scott, how you been?
There you go.
What's going on down there in Colorado?
Oh, it's been hot like everywhere else.
You guys, do you have any forest fires going on down there? Is that like a thing right now?
No, we actually, I shouldn't complain too much. We set some records for rain this year, so
that's good.
it's been nice to not have, half the state on fire. Apparently we let you guys take over that role this year.
Boy, did we ever. Yeah, I would say that probably a third of Canada is on fire right now. So
Politically, not like the trees are fine.
The trees are all fine.
Politically, we're burning to the ground right now. Yeah, but I should step back, because if we just jump in and be like, oh, everybody knows who Scott is, but maybe not everybody does know who Scott is, considering most of our audience has probably moved on to bigger and better podcasts by now. We may have a whole new audience.
Like ones that actually put stuff out.
Record and put stuff out, yeah. So, Scott, give us a quick intro on who you are, what you do, and then we'll get back to shooting the shit.
All right, cool. So, yeah, Scott Kelly. I'm in Golden, Colorado. 15-year deck builder, 7 years of steel framing. Sort of how I carved out my niche. And, I've been real lucky to befriend you guys and guys across the country because of that. And, that's sort of the condensed version.
Okay. And so, I don't know if I want to go there quite yet. Wade, you go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, it was like the podcast that we had before we had Scott on, and it was basically when we started to really like dive into explore stock steel framing, and we were trying to, kind of grow that market in Canada, and Scott is like one of the most knowledgeable guys.
You don't have to think too hard. He's got a name that says it all. The Godfather of Steel.
We somehow pegged him as the Godfather of Steel during that podcast. But regardless, Scott's worked with multiple systems, and that's why it was really good to have him on the podcast, because he was able to speak like knowledgeably about multiple systems. He could talk about, C-channel framing, as well as what used to be Trex Elevation. Trex Elevation is now stronger than steel, right? Is that what he's called it?
Newcastle Steel.
Newcastle Steel. Yeah. And then Fortress's system as well. So it was really good to be able to get your perspective on that. And then we were basically just trying to educate and let people know, these are the products that are out in the market. Here's how they work. And Scott basically went on 2.5 hour soliloquy while you and I
took notes.
Yeah.
Hadn't had a hand cramp since college. It was
little
all back that day.
Yeah.
Soliloquy, man, that word doesn't get used often enough.
No, I was listening to some Hamlet the other night, so that's not true.
So, not that I want to turn this into another another one of those that we did before.
No, I don't want to.
But like, it's been a couple of years. Has your opinion on steel framing changed? Have you learned anything in the last 2 years? Like, I think I know the answer to this, but for those who don't, you've doubled down. Like, you're all steel all the time.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. No, I mean, my opinion definitely hasn't changed. I think the popularity is definitely growing. There's some real traction finally taking hold, and I think whether it's going to be steel, whether it's going to be aluminum, whether it's going to be this composite lumber, like there's been a whole lot of problems the last couple of years, especially post COVID, with the rush to get out treated lumber. That I'm talking to somebody every day, it seems like, about making a switch. So
yeah, and I was going to ask that, and you went there anyway. Are you a pro steel guy, or are you an anti wood guy? Like, are you in with steel for the long haul, or are you open to using alternative framing options, just not treated lumber? And to expand on that, what's your opinion on the other systems that are out there?
I would say I am both. I am definitely anti-treated lumber. Just don't. I guess the way I would put it is it's an antiquated technology. Like, the trees ain't ever going to get better at this point, and doesn't matter what you pump them full of.
They're just cutting them down too fast, right? Like, it's all fast growth stuff.
Yeah.
So the rings are too wide, and the material rots out faster than it ever did. And so,
do you think we could feed the trees the same thing we feed chickens to get them to grow up a little faster and plump up? And
right. I mean, that's what they're already doing.
Human growth steroids, growth hormones, HGH, right?
So what do you think of, like, obviously the aluminum's out there, and aluminum's not new. There's been a variety of systems over the years that have never really gained a lot of traction, but they hang around. But now that TimberTech's in the aluminum game, like, that's a big brand and a lot of money behind that push. So aluminum, and then you've got more money and more marketing in the Owens Corning corner with the structural composite lumber that they're talking about here. So what's your opinion? We know how you feel about steel, but what's your opinion on these other alternatives that are coming out?
I think any of them is going to be an upgrade from wood, right?
Yeah.
I think there's going to be I think there's a place for everything. Like, I love steel, and obviously that's kind of my thing, but I don't live next to salt water. So,
right.
There's certainly guys and markets that want a better option than treated lumber, but they have different corrosion factors. So,
right.
Yeah, 100%. You're in Florida. Yeah. Like, if you're down in Florida, the idea of working with Owens composite framing is like, that's a way better option than working with steel.
Well, that's where it was born, right?
Correct.
It was born there because out of the necessity for that, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, like, you'd argue that wood is really bad and deteriorates super fast, but I guess if you put steel right beside salt water, it also doesn't take very long. Wears out, deteriorates away, right? So,
I mean, I guess it would depend on, obviously it would depend on the maintenance, but then you're into a maintenance problem.
Yeah.
So,
and I don't even like shaving, so I'm for sure not taking care of my deck that way.
Right.
So,
yeah, I mean, it's certainly, you can't say that steel doesn't serve a place next to salt water, because, Golden Gate Bridge and all that stuff, or, those things are still made out of steel.
Oh yeah, that little
thing. That's about as close to salt water as you can get.
The boats.
The Titanic. Wait, bad example.
Right.
Is there such, this is like on this, like, different thought, but because of this conversation we're having, is there such thing, and if anybody knows the answer, it's you, as like a sacrificial rod for steel framing that you could, like, if you were in salt water, that you could do something where, well, probably not, because it's still going to salt spray. There is?
There's it involves like chemistry and a little bit of it. You have to understand electrons, but yeah, there's ways to create a sacrificial metal for the steel. Like the most basic example I could give you is like the helical pier company out here, and up there too, because Techno Metal Post is up there.
Yeah.
But Techno Metal Post, they have an option where you can put a magnesium ring on the shaft of the pier right by the helix.
Oh, really?
And because of the dissimilar metals, the magnesium ring acts as the not superficial, it acts as the sacrificial metal first.
Yeah. Interesting.
Well, that's
and then
fantastic.
there's a thing too.
Like imagine if you're like your sway bracing on the bottom of your deck could all just be sacrificial metal. So it's like that's easy to get to and replace later as it starts to corrode out. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just spitballing here.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know there's something else too with actually Mike Holmes. I remember Mike Holmes did something with it like a few years back where they had a deck with, I want to say it was like steel planking, but there was a system there where it had like what you're talking about. There was like this sacrificial rod or plate or something that they would attach, and then you could actually all the corrosion would go to that, and you could actually switch that plate or rod out like every few years if you needed to.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And that was apparently something that they took from the automotive industry.
Right. I mean, the only Achilles heel to like the Fortress system is if that coating gets scratched, right? If we get through the powder coating, then that's where the trouble starts. So assuming that you properly sprayed and paid attention to everything, it should be like they still warranty it at saltwater just at 10 years instead of 25, right?
Right.
But I wonder if if you were diligent on maintaining it, you get a nick or a scratch, you coat it again, then
Good to go.
like it should last a lot longer. So anyway,
Right.
Okay, I wrote down a few things, and so each week,
oh yeah, each week.
Shane and I.
Each week we don't record this.
No. Each week we are good about having leadership meetings, and in those leadership meetings,
Oh, I see.
we have a segue. A segue is one good thing that happened in your business since the last time we talked to you, and one good thing that has happened to you personally since the last time we talked to you. And don't pick me because I talked to you 2 days ago. Pick like when the last time you talked to Shane.
I was going to say, what's the last time? Like personal conversation or
So it
last
could be like,
podcast?
whatever. Let's go within like the last month. What's like something
like,
great?
Like public record here.
This is public record. Yeah. And like, if you want to tell that story, you go ahead and tell it, man.
Don't say anything you don't want
Right?
17 people to hear.
Yeah. 17 people in the industry. And I could
That's 3 of them
funny.
are in this room
I'll
right
name
now.
them for you. Levi will know. Haney will know.
Right?
That's pretty much it. So,
Right. Oh, that's funny. Personally, man, lots of good stuff, but I guess top of mind, dropped like 18 pounds since April.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Good
So
for
that's
you.
been good. Yeah.
Intentionally?
quite
Like
so.
you've been living a better life?
Living a better life, yeah.
Or you were sick?
Yeah.
Got COVID
Yeah.
and lost 18 pounds. So that was
No.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good for
Well,
you.
you
That's
know,
good.
just little simple stuff, you know, trying to keep track of the diet a little bit more, you know. Our boy Scott Sheffield over at Fortress is pretty inspiring. I mean, he's dropped like 70 or something
Isn't
like
that
that.
crazy?
So,
Right?
He's dropped
you know,
so much he had to remove a T from his name. Like, he had to like
right?
he's
yeah.
I remember like at one point, like I was kind of jabbing him the one time because it's like his Instagram stories were nothing but pictures of gym equipment. I remember talking to him one time. I was like, so do you ever actually use that shit, or you just take pictures and leave? But then I saw him again a few months later. I was like, wow, dude, there's like, where's the rest of you? So I was like, he must use it.
Yeah,
I
he
guess.
lost a lot of weight.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah. So, yeah, you know, gotta keep up with the pack or something like that. So.
Yep. Okay.
So
you lost some weight.
The kid's healthy, starting 3rd grade. So that's a win.
Yep.
We excited about that. Said he had last week was his first week. He said that was his best first week ever. You know,
wow.
Not super deep into it, but he's super excited and having fun. So
you guys go back to school early, hey? Like
they're in school now.
Like when do you go? Like middle of August?
Yeah. This is his 2nd week. So
so even a little bit earlier.
Yep.
Yeah, we don't go back till end of August essentially. So we're a little bit behind up here, as we usually are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So. And what about business?
Yeah.
So that's a couple of good things. Good personal. What's going on in the business lately?
Businesses. Business for the most part is good. You know, still staying busy, not as busy as I would like, but you know, I'm not going to starve to death.
Well, now that you don't eat as much, it's much easier.
Sounds like
right. That is much easier.
Just rice cakes all the time.
I would say both a business and personal win. It's a little over a month, but I finally got to do an article for Deck Specialist, so that was
buddy.
Super cool.
Nice,
good for you.
So, yeah,
awesome.
Things are well on all fronts, I think.
Okay. Do you believe in aliens?
Here we go.
I think it's. I would say that it's impossible to discount the possibility.
Right.
Especially now. I don't know who I was listening to. It just came across on social media somehow. But some lady who's like I don't know what she does, but she's like an astrologist or not, like a person who's about the stars.
Yeah.
About knows all this shit.
Astrology.
She's like it's incomprehensible to think that there isn't something else out there. And she's like, here's a great analogy for you. If you were to compare the space where it's potentially infinite.
Yeah.
So you can't
see where the edges are.
This analogy falls apart there if it actually is infinite. But from what we know of it, like from how big we think it is, if we were to compare that to the ocean, we have explored and we can see about 1 cup full of water out of the oceans, and that's how much we've seen, we've explored.
Right.
So for us to say like, no, life can't exist anywhere else is the equivalent of us taking a scoop of water out of the ocean and being like, no fish in there. Guess there's no fish anywhere out there. It's like ignoring that there's just like a trillion species of things in there that we haven't even discovered in our own oceans, let alone what's out in space. So.
Amazon. Like in the Amazon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's so much of the earth that we don't know about already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I listened, I've been on a Joe Rogan podcast kick.
You've been on a Joe Rogan podcast?
Kick.
Okay.
He hasn't called me yet.
How'd it go?
But I'm like, I got to be close to one of his top listeners right now.
You're getting further and further down the spectrum.
And I like with them. I'm like, I like this. So he's got to be noticing that me.
Who's this Wade J. Laurent guy?
Why is he?
Have him on
I
here.
should call him. So anyways, he, over the last month, has had a few people on that were like ex-CIA and like ex-Secret Service guys. And they're like, we can tell you that there is biological matter stored in buildings, but that's about all we can tell you. And it's like, well, that alone, and Area 51, why is that guarded so well? Why is it that you get shot if you cross the fence? There's some stuff in there that they don't want to share.
Yeah.
So
pretty much.
Anyways, okay, good. Oh, we can continue to be friends.
I don't know.
I believe that.
Any more left field
Yeah, just one.
Far out.
I just got one left
Okay,
fielder.
let's hear it.
Do you think that the cocaine in the White House was Hunter's or Joe's?
I got to go Hunter there.
And do you think that is like? You think that it's plausible?
I'm pretty sure Joe can't. I'm pretty sure Joe taking a big old sniff, that would do him in.
Yeah, there's no way his heart can handle any sort of
We should get some.
extracurriculars.
To get some in front of him, right? Maybe just perk him up a little bit so he doesn't fall off his bike.
Right. I mean, if they should probably share a little bit with Mitch McConnell after his little shutdown a while back. That dude needs to pick me up.
Unbelievable! What an unbelievable event that was. Have you seen this, Shane?
No.
So he's a senator, right? Scott?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So he's a senator and he's standing at a mic. Maybe Scott actually just had a Mitch McConnell event right there. So he was delivering a speech, and then in the middle of it, he stopped and then just stood there and actually had like a minor stroke on camera. It was like his face was twitching and his eyes were twitching, and he just stood there and like he didn't talk, he didn't do anything, and he like was in front of the microphone at the ripe old age of whatever he is, 82 years old,
80 something, yeah,
mid 80s, and he had a stroke, and so his handler came over and like kind of grabbed him by the shoulders, and they walked him off stage. Was like, yeah, no, all good here. He just forgot his lines. No, no, we can't have people leading the country that are like having strokes, while delivering a speech. Like he shouldn't. There's no way he's healthy enough to be doing what he's doing.
Yeah.
So, okay. Anyways, it's wild. Yeah, I just can't believe that there isn't some footage in the White House of whose cocaine that is.
It's funny how the cameras are always not working when you need them, right?
Yeah.
It's like there's so many instances where it's like, well, just look at the security camera. It's one of the most secure buildings in the world. Yeah, shoot.
Yeah,
Looks like they were all paused.
Yeah. Oh, we don't know whose it is.
right.
Anyways, we just swept it under the rug.
Yeah.
So they can get it later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically.
Do you have another one?
Wild. No, that was
you know, the guy that was running the cameras for Epstein got a new job at the White House that day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No kidding. Hey.
He was moonlighting.
Yeah. Well, wait, I did have one more. An ethical question. And I've stolen this one from Sean's podcast, The Hardworking Happy Hour.
We got to take a commercial break. We'll be right back to the ultimate conspiracy podcast here.
No, this one isn't a conspiracy. Okay. This is just right around ethics. And it's like, what kind of person are you? And so you and I were chatting just on Monday night. I was driving back from Saskatoon. I give you a call. We were chatting. And we were talking about how the right thing to do is to give benefits to your employees to try and retain them because people are important. And it's like, we were talking about like just being a good person. If you received change at a grocery store and they gave you too much money back, would you give it back to the store?
Yeah.
Yes, you would.
I would.
What if it was $100?
Well, I mean, still give it back.
Okay.
I feel like the more it is, the more compelled you would be to give it back.
Yeah.
Like if they give you an extra quarter, you're like, well, whatever.
It's a quarter.
Right.
But if it's
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like Home Depot, I'm constantly telling the cashiers, like, you guys missed that.
No,
like, you didn't bring that up.
I changed my answer. If it's Home Depot, I'm taking everything.
Yeah.
They give
corporate, like a big corporate store.
Down with the box stores. No, I'm kidding.
Only
Am I supposed to be answering this too? Or
Yeah.
is this a round table?
Go ahead, answer it.
I would give the money back. Yeah. Like I've been in the opposite situation where I've been shorted and not said anything. That's how much I'm just going to keep my mouth shut or do the right thing.
So
That's not even the right thing.
That's the wrong thing. Yeah. That's dumb. Don't do that.
Like if it was $100, I'm sure I'm going to say something. But
yeah,
if it's supposed to be $6.75 back and they
give you $1.75,
they give me $5.75. I'm like, I'm probably not going to raise a stink about the buck.
Huh.
Walmart needs it more.
Yeah,
right. The Walton family is struggling. Struggling.
There's only like 17 millionaires in that family off the one business.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there more to this?
Well, no.
Yeah, that's the thing is that, you know, it's part of me is like, yeah, it's just a big corporate machine and they can afford it. But the cashier is the one who gets fired. So it's like, but they can't absorb the hit.
Yeah, like at the end of the day, it's
I guess
you make the right decision.
that's how more I look at it, I guess.
Boy, oh boy, I don't know that I want to go down this rabbit hole, but I'm gonna. So here's the thing that kind of it's similar about ethics in retail. We'll call it similar conversation is Costco and their incredible return policy, where they'll take like frickin' anything back. And
yes,
up here, I'm sure these pages are everywhere, but the Costco Facebook page in our city
region
is like incredibly active. There's like, I don't know, 40 or 50,000 people in it. And it's just like, it's got an ecosystem of its own. When somebody posts something, he's like, this was really good at Costco. All of a sudden there's a rush and Costco sells out immediately. Like it's like this super active group.
Yeah.
And every once in a while in that group, people pop up and be like, somebody will be like, well, I bought some whatever, what should I do? And everybody's just like, just return it. They'll take anything back, which is all good and stuff. But like sometimes people come in there and it's just the dumbest shit. It's like, oh, I bought a patio set 4 years ago and we've used it, but we don't really like it anymore. And we're thinking about getting a new one. Should I just return it? And some people were like, just return it. They'll take it back. And I like that. You're a dickhead at that point. You're a dickhead. If you're suggesting that's what people should do, or you're doing it, you're a dickhead.
yeah,
And same with people who are like, oh, I bought this whatever pack of pizza pops and ate 20 of them, but
the last
I don't think
four
we're
are
gonna
no
like
good.
Yeah, like then the other ones are kind of freezer burn or something. Then the people are gonna return them. Like you're an asshole.
Yeah,
I don't care. And
Right.
anytime if I've ever spoke up or somebody speaks up and was like don't abuse it. They are super lenient with their return policy. Be appreciative of that. Don't abuse it or it'll go away.
yeah. I actually
And-
think the phrase is different than what you just said there.
What's
I
that?
think it's if you abuse it, you will lose it. I believe.
What did I say?
If you abuse it, it'll go away. I don't think that's how it goes.
I'm usually a pretty good rhymer, but anyways,
Right.
inevitably
That's another short-sighted example, though, right?
yeah.
Because
But inevitably, somebody will jump in and be like, "Oh," and they're on like somebody will be like, "I'm going to do this," and it's a shitty move, and somebody will call them out on it, and then somebody else will come in and be like, "Oh yeah, feel sorry for big corporate Costco can't afford these returns." It's like you don't understand the point. So for somebody else that's in retail, that precedent that a big corporation like that can set as far as return policies goes bleeds into every other business.
Yes.
So now people start to expect,
Correct.
well, shit, the Ultimate Deck Shop or Joanne's grocery store in the corner, well, they should take back a thing of broccoli that was 3 months old that finally went moldy. Like they should take it back too. Costco would. That's why it's a dangerous precedent to set.
Yeah.
I don't care about Costco's $14. That's not the point. The point is they've trained consumers to think that it's okay to be an asshole to the retailer.
Yep.
And that,
Correct.
you want to be an asshole to Costco? Fine. They're not hurting.
Yep.
But the problem is people don't like leave that at the door. They then take that same expectation and have it at every business they shop at.
Yes.
So anyways, that's my rant. I won't go
Correct.
further.
Yeah.
Well,
So that-
the other thing with that too is that it's short-sighted in that Costco or whoever else is going to have that return, like that lost revenue is going to be built into their pricing. So the
Right.
more people that are returning it, like you're not punishing Costco, you end up punishing everybody else because the prices go up to make up for your stupid returns.
Right.
So
And my understanding is Costco doesn't have to build it in the price. The vendor gets nailed with that. Costco has so much power because of their obvious distribution that
sure.
when you return something 6 years later, Costco doesn't eat that $800 on your blender or whatever you did. They just get a credit back from the vendor. So most vendors selling within a Costco are probably fairly well established to begin with, but many are not. Many are upstarts with just a good product.
Yep.
They're the ones getting nailed. It's not Costco's $600 billion company that gets nailed. It's Tammy's family who came up with a cool idea and managed to get into Costco, and she takes the hit because Costco's like, we don't pay for defective things. And it's like, and our return policy is like anytime, anywhere. They're like,
Yep.
shit, but I got to do it. It's Costco.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're not hurting Costco in any
Right.
scenario.
So
They got themselves covered.
this actually brings up a thought, it triggers the story that happened to Levi yesterday. So did you see this in the post? He had a post
I
in
did.
the
Yeah.
Elite Deck Builder. So
Way to bring this back home.
he accidentally left a zero off of a quote that he delivered. So it was a $2,500 quote, not a $25,000 quote.
Yep. Oops.
Tears the deck off.
Where's the button for that?
Might not. It's just like tears the deck off the house and then realizes his mistake and goes back to the customer.
Oh wait, he took like that. The
deck's
job
gone.
start. Oh, the homeowners took the deck off.
No,
Yeah. He had said the homeowners had done the demo themselves.
Yeah.
But it was when he like finalized contract and went to get the 50% deposit that he realized. You'd already taken like an initial like booking deposit or
He
something.
took like $1,000 or something, right?
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
went to go get the other 50%. Was like, oh,
I already have 50%.
yeah.
I already have it all.
Right.
Shoot, this is going to be hard. I can't afford the hangers with what I have.
Yeah.
So anyways,
Right.
did you, you obviously read it. And then
yeah,
did you
I
open
did,
up and read through the
I
comments?
didn't read a lot of the comments. Saw a couple early on. But
You only need to read 2. Every single comment in there's 50 or whatever. They're all the same. It's all of us being like, that homeowner is a dipshit. There's no way that they think they were getting a deck for $2,500. They can't. It's not possible. And they actually shouldn't even hold Levi to that. So everybody in the thread was like, give them all their money back, offer to let them get some more bids, and then you can bid on the job, and either you get it or you don't get it. Some were saying, tell them to go get a couple more bids and then do it for the lowest bid that they get. Levi offered to do it for 18. He took he like right off the bat offered to take a $7,000 hit. And the homeowners are like,
are they being shitty about it? Or are they like understanding?
From the way that I read it, it sounded like they were not impressed. And it sounds like they were kind of leaning towards the $18,000. But everybody else in the group was like, don't do that to yourself. Don't lose that much money. They're getting the final product. Give them their money back, and either they'll work with you because they want to work with you, or make them find someone else.
That's a tough one. You'd have to think at some point another number was thrown out there at some point, right? It wasn't like we want to
Like,
build
who
a deck.
gets
It's like,
one
okay,
quote?
look, deck looks good, and then a price is like no
I don't.
price
Yeah.
is ever mentioned.
Nobody gets one quote anymore.
Right.
And the other thing is, so I commented on this. I said, because Blake had chimed in from California Deck. And so I said to Blake, I was like, I know for sure that homeowner would have told their friends, been like, man, we got a quote for this deck. It's $2,500. There's no way that person said to their friend group that the deck was $2,500 and somebody in that circle of friends didn't tell them that it was off.
Unless they were all hush hush because they knew, right?
They're
Don't
shitty
tell
people,
anybody. Quite possible.
right?
Yeah,
So-
that's a tough one.
But I'd be like, for me, I don't think it is actually a tough one. I think I'd go back and be like, here's your money. I can't. I'm sorry, I
maybe
can't.
the decision isn't tough. Like
Yeah.
maybe that's an easy decision, but the scenario is tough. It's like, oh boy,
They're going to leave a
sucks.
bad review. And it's like,
Yeah, you might
whatever.
get on
Yeah, that's the problem, is that they can ding in no matter what on the reviews.
Like I said, Adam Drovo was in there and had mentioned that about a review. And I was just like, bad reviews aren't the worst thing. I was like, it's how you reply to the bad review, right? And it's like, sometimes those help because it just shows you're human. You make mistakes, have a good explanation and explain how you tried to deal with the situation. And it is what it is.
Yeah.
So,
Right?
yeah.
Have you ever had
Wild.
anything like that, Scott? Not that specific, but like made a big mistake and you had to like take it on the chin for a customer?
Other than marriage.
Yeah. Yeah. I've done that too.
Cost you more than $22,500, I bet.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm still hemorrhaging.
Yeah.
Actually.
But is there anything that comes to mind? Like a project
Yeah.
that you like misquoted or like egregiously misquoted? Like quoted it at treated prices and forgot you're doing steel?
I wouldn't say there was anything that was like egregiously misquoted. I think the biggest thing for me is we had a project that I had stuff that I should have put as change orders and didn't, and it kept stacking up and kept stacking up and kept stacking up.
Yeah, and then at the end,
yeah,
17,000. Yeah. What?
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So it was like, yeah, it ends up being 2 weeks of work that I basically ate because I didn't
properly quoted out.
So yeah, that was probably the worst one.
You got a big one, Shane? You got one that you blew?
No, I asked that question. I was trying to think, did I ever have like a big miss? But I don't recall it.
Back in the day when I was installing kitchens, I did an entire kitchen in the wrong color.
Oh yeah.
It was like I think it ended up costing me 20 some grand.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the homeowners, we tore the kitchen out the day before. Cabinets get delivered at like 8:00 in the morning, and I was there and I had a helper. And the first day is much like the first day of doing kitchens is like the same as the first day of framing. It's just like lots of stuff happens. So the whole kitchen was in, all the boxes were in, all the island was assembled. And then the next day was like trim and fillers and crown and handles, right? And it's like all the slow, tedious stuff. But like every box was installed. And the homeowners came home at 4:30 and they're just like, man, this looks so good. And they're like walking around, they're looking at it, and it's like darker than we thought. Turn the lights on and the cabinets were black and they were supposed to be like a really dark brown. And they're just like, this is the wrong color. And I was like, no, it's not. And they're like, it absolutely is. Like it's the wrong color. It's supposed to be whatever, walnut or something. And I was like, wow. I'm really sorry. You're going to be without a kitchen for 6 weeks because we have to order them in again. And like, I'm not coming back here tomorrow. They're like, okay. I was like, I'll send somebody else to take the kitchen apart, but like, we'll try to resell it, whatever. But I'm out. I got to go. They were like, this is crappy. And I was like, fee up for all of us. So
whose mistake was it? Yours or the cabinet place? Or?
It was the cabinet place's mistake. Because on my paper, I had it written down as the right one. On the homeowner's paper, it was written down as I had it written as the right color. The homeowners had it written as the right color. And the cabinet place had it as the wrong color, but they were not it. Not it. He's your customer. And I was like, yeah, but you ordered the product. And so, yeah, we ended up sharing the cost on that one. Ouch. Bad news bears. So
yeah, that's one.
Every single time I see that guy, he's like, that's the best kitchen. Like, I really like it. And you did the right thing. And but I hated every moment of that. Like, I actually, when I see him, I'm still just like, oh, God, I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate that situation. I don't hate the guy.
Yeah.
So anyways.
Okay. Well,
okay.
Should we get like,
what are we?
The reason we
40 minutes in.
Yeah. Let's get to the topic. The reason we started talking again about doing another episode. Well, why don't you lead this in, Wade? You're more familiar with this request than I am.
Yeah. So it was on August 1st, 2023 at 6:17 p.m. No, I don't know what time it was. But it was, Scott, you had posted in the Elite Deck Builder like Facebook page some frustrations with the industry. And I read that and was just like you nailed it. You absolutely nailed it. And so I was like, I phoned you and I said, Scott, do you want to do this on a podcast? Because I feel the same way. What used to happen, and this is probably 3 years ago or 4 years ago, who knows when it really was. It was before influencers and before people were getting paid to like promote products and paid to like install boards or getting product for free or whatever. It used to be this brotherhood of people that would come together once or twice a year. We would share ideas. We would share stories. We would try really hard to build each other up and make the entire industry a better place to be. And that was one of the things I absolutely loved about Deck Expo and IBS and when we would go to these shows. And slowly over the last few years, that's deteriorated because people are like paying people to say that this board is good and or giving them product. And then as a contractor who's getting sponsored by these dealers or these manufacturers, now all of a sudden you're accountable to their schedule. So you go to these events, you go to Deck Expo, and it's like you have to attend a dinner and you have to attend the booth and you got to work a certain amount of time there. And it's like, and then you also by default kind of walk around and shit talk all the other products. And it's like, well, that's no good. Like that's not us being our best selves. And so you posted about this and I was just like, yes, man, like that's it. You're right. I want to talk about this louder with more people. Right. And so, I called you and was like, let's be on the podcast. And you said yes. And then it took us 29 days to line that up. And here we are. So.
And here we are.
Not much.
39 days and 40 something minutes, right?
yeah, exactly. So, so let's go on about that. What triggered that post, Scott? What happened?
Let's do it. Just, man, like, I don't, how do you put that correctly?
Like
so I guess going back to,
it's already on the internet. You don't have to put it any differently. Like,
yeah.
Right. Well, I think some of it is that, between going back to like when I was first on with you guys and then through the last, I don't know, couple of years or whatever, I've been super lucky to have, made a little bit of a name for myself, but also, really expanded my contacts and reach within the industry. And it's kind of been a blessing and a curse because, I get to see behind the curtain, for lack of a little better analogy. And, sometimes what you see behind the curtain is not all that great. So, I think the big frustration is going back to, the manufacturers that we talked about earlier, specifically like Fortress and Newcastle and Owens Corning. And, I talked to all of those guys and I would consider all of those guys friends. And, and you get them alone or you get them sort of off record or whatever, and they're being, I don't know, I don't want to say bullied, but they're having guys go to them, and it's a certain group of guys or individuals or whoever who will be championing the industry and the brotherhood and all of this on social media, and then they're going to the manufacturers behind the scenes, and it's a constant leveraging of, well, Owens Corning will give me this, so what'll you give me? And then, oh, well, now Newcastle will give me this, so what will Fortress give me? And
right. So this ties back to the thing that Shane was talking about with Costco, right? And it's just like, don't abuse this. Like if Owens Corning offers to like whatever, pay for your flights to get down so you talk about something, or they pay for you to like have a podcast and feature their product. If that's what happens, it's like, okay, well, take that little bit of stuff because that's an acknowledgement for your work and your value and your worth. But then to like
absolutely
move that around and leverage other people is like, well, now you're abusing it. And if you continue to do that, the shit's going to go away. Like all of a sudden, nobody's going to like, right? Like they're not going to.
Did you do that on purpose?
No.
So you said abuse it and then it's going to go away.
Oh.
Like,
right.
See,
right.
I know it.
You're going to lose it.
Lose it when you're going to lose it.
So anyways, I don't love that guys are doing that. I appreciate that people think that they're valuable and that they have followers and maybe there's some money that should be made in that, but I don't
I absolutely think there is. I mean, we were talking about, hardworking happy hour, and like I was talking to Collins Grew about it the other day, that it's like, I know how hard it is and how much work he's putting into his social media presence and his content. Like, it's crazy. And there should be some value to that. But I think Sean is one of the guys that, like, I would say I appreciate, because he's, that he has some sponsor deals, but he's using the same stuff over and over and over and over and over again. And he's using, he'll use it in different ways, but he's not, he's not putting on 3 different deck brands a year. He's putting on 1 deck brand a year.
He's not using everyone to, like, pitting them against each other to leverage a better deal from somebody.
Right.
Being more loyal to the agreements he has. Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah, and he also does it in such a way that he's not like arrogant or flaunting it either, right? He's like, I use Decorators because that's the board I like, and that's the board that I want to use. Oh. Yeah. You know what I mean? He's not like, he was using Decorators before there was ever really probably sponsorship or dollars being directed towards him to use that board. He legit likes the board.
Yeah.
And so, he seems a lot more authentic than some people do.
I was gonna say that's the thing. It's the authenticity, I think.
Yeah. The vibe I got from that post too, and I haven't gone back and read it again, but the vibe I got was that it was more just disappointment that it's hard to get people together in the same room again, because everybody's being pulled in different directions, because the vendors have really kind of stepped into the middle of that community and disrupted it, really. And so I agree with that, because like Wade said, it used to be you go to Deck Expo, you hang out with everybody, and everybody kind of like flows to one place, and everybody's going to this place, everybody's going to that place, and you were all kind of together. And I know that even in Vegas there in November, I know it was almost impossible to hang out with anybody outside the show. Yeah. Because it was like, this guy's going to the Decorators thing, and this guy's going to the Fortress thing, and this guy's going to the Timber Tech thing. And then it was like, even when you invited some people, it's like, oh no, I charge, like, I'm not going unless they pay me to go to supper. It's like, what? I won't say who, but that came out of somebody's mouth too. It was like, unless they're going to pay me $5,000 to come for supper. And then in the same breath or moments later, it was like, I'm not sure why I don't get invited to supper. It's like, because you want to charge that.
Because your head's up your ass.
Go and just like chill for a minute and go for a nice supper and thank them for paying the $200 bill. Like, that's all it needs to be. It doesn't need to be sell 24/7. Like, go for dinner and visit with some people. But anyway, so it has been corrupted a little bit, I think. And there's a saying or a phrase that's pretty common in the marketing world, that marketers ruin everything. And it's 100% true. And that's exactly what's happened to this little like niche community that we have here right now. Because, and the reason for that thing is, like, if you look back, like, email used to be a really useful tool. And now it's just like, what's email to you? It's like 98% spam. Because marketers realize that people read email and they really like email. Yeah. So they're going to screw that up for you. Yeah. And
text message.
Texting is really good. And marketers like, well, hold on.
Or at least we used to like email.
Yeah, exactly. Now we don't, because marketers ruined it. And it's like, it's going to happen with text messaging now. Because now the big push is like, oh, well, nobody opens email anymore because marketers ruined it. Yeah. And now it's like, now marketers like, hey, 98% of people open their SMS though. Hit it. And in a couple of years from now, people are going to be like, SMS sucks. I get so much spam to my... So that's what's happened with the community, is we all of a sudden we had this great group of primarily social media influencers. Really, it was like the people that were big on social media is the ones who went to these events to hang out together. So it's like there was a following in this group.
But we caused this on our own.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, 100%. Everybody's complicit a little bit.
Yeah,
but slowly, the marketers started to realize, they're like, whoa, like, you know, this guy goes down and hangs out with all these other people. He's got some influence. We should like nab him. And then all of a sudden the other company's like, well, we should nab this guy then. And then all of a sudden we should nab this guy. And all of a sudden everybody's under these agreements. Yeah. And for marketing, like everybody's buying the influence. And now that's ruined that authentic community that was there.
Yeah.
Because everybody has some sort of false allegiance to somebody because of money.
Yep.
Marketers ruin
Yep.
everything.
Yeah, it's too bad. And so what you were trying or suggesting was that it would be nice if we could just get a panel of people together to just like openly converse about the industry.
And which is the irony is some of the replies were from vendors who said like, yeah,
We'll
I'd
sponsor that.
I'd sponsor that.
Shut
Right.
up.
Did you not read the first post? Yeah.
Attend.
Right.
Please attend. Show up if you're a manufacturer, but don't sponsor it because that's what's wrecking it all, right? That's what's making it so biased and so like, yeah,
Right.
yeah. That's what it makes it now.
Well,
yeah.
and my problem, the other frustration with that, I guess the post is that we're not, like you guys are saying, like you feel, whether you're sponsored or not, you feel a certain obligation or, a duty to a manufacturer, right? Like,
Yeah. And
I'm totally guilty of that. Like I have a great relationship with decorators. Anybody who knows me knows that that's what I use.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I'm not like, I don't have a financial tie to them, but I feel obligated to attend decorators events at like Deck Expo. But then that's magnified, like these guys that do have sponsorship deals, like, and again, more power to them. Like, that's great. But my personal thing is that we can't drive the industry forward when, like, guys can't go out and like openly talk about how to make products better because they don't want to screw up their sponsorship deals.
right. And that would be the problem with, even as innocent as it may be, if this event did happen and let's say there was a sponsor that decided to jump on board, but was like, no, I'll keep my hat. I won't even go. I'm just going to help pay for it. And so all of a sudden the event is like, whatever, the Great Deck Builders Communities, blah, 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 sponsored by whatever, Trex, let's say.
I think it should be
Even if they
sponsored by a hot
stayed
tub company.
out of it, the guys who are on TimberTech's payroll would be like getting kind of like side-eyed by their TimberTech people if they were going to go to an event that was sponsored by Trex. So even if you tried to innocently do it, it would still not really work.
Yeah.
The purity of it would just, it's impossible to happen.
And
Correct.
to be honest, that like somebody has to pay for it. Like you can't just go to Vegas and get a room in like a hall in the convention center and just like have a room with tables and chairs and a panel.
But you wouldn't have to. You could just be like, we're all going to go to this certain restaurant, or we're all going to go to this certain bar, or we're all going to meet up at the expo. Like, just, it doesn't need to be sponsored free event. If you actually care about going there and like, and collaborating with other people, it's okay if you have a drink tab at the end of the night. Like, I know that nobody wants to pay their own drinks when they go somewhere anymore because vendors are so willing to, but it's like, if we're talking about getting back to the roots of this thing, it's like, well,
then go pay for your own
you
drinks.
used to pay for your own tab. That's okay.
That's okay. Yeah.
It's like that $100 is
Right.
gonna.
Well, I mean, Wade and I had this talk the other day when he called it. It was like, part of me in that post, part of me feels like I may have overstepped because like I told Wade, just because I'm willing to volunteer my time doesn't give me the right to expect other people to do the same.
Right. And there's nothing saying you couldn't charge a fee for it either. Like, if you did want to actually formally go somewhere or whatever that had a bit of a fee to it, it's like, if you want to come, it's $50. You pay your own $50 something.
You pay your own $50, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, just for transparency, you put the room rental fee on a board on the wall and be like, room rental fee for this was this much.
Yeah.
And as people come in, it gets cheaper or something. Like, yeah, I don't know.
Something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it would benefit everybody if there could be that, true sense of, I don't know, just openness about what's going on as a whole in the industry.
Yeah. And so I know in that thread too, people are commenting, it was like, this is exactly what Nadra's for. This is what
I was
Nadra
just going to
does.
comment on that. I was just going to be like, well, maybe the only person that can put it on is Nadra.
But then like, so how do you feel about that, Scott? Because like, obviously Nadra is incredibly sponsored too. So it's like, even by proxy, is it still...
Well, I think that works. Like secondary
Correct.
sponsorship works. I think it's okay that the industry, like it's okay that the money funnels. Like if it went from Owens and Fortress and Trex and TimberTech into Nadra and then out, that's okay. It's a Nadra event. It's not a manufacturer's event.
Sure.
And so like,
It's all being laundered.
it's all whatever.
Laundered at Nadra.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I
How do you think Pops has got such good
think-
teeth, man? That's exactly it.
I think some of that too is I think that would be a great thing for Nadra to be able to do, is to be able to have an event like that. But I don't know. Like you guys said, there's a ton of corporate sponsorship for Nadra too. So
Have you had...
are they going to be...
Have you had any discussions
Have I
with
had?
anybody since that post? Like when you made that post, and there's a lot of people that were supportive of the idea. Did anybody reach out? Like, did Nadra reach out to you and be like, "Let's do this"? What exactly in your mind is preventing this from happening?
I got a very nice message from Pops shortly thereafter, which, to be honest, I just got back to him on because I was processing a lot of things on it.
Okay.
I did hear from quite a few other builders who were like, "Yeah, I think that's a great idea." So I think there's some room to do it. I think there's guys who still want to, have a real community and a real brotherhood, and so I wouldn't say that all hope is lost.
Yeah. It seemed like in a way, it seemed like, I'm gonna have to go back and read this whole thread again, but in a way, it seemed like the point was being missed by so many too, because a lot of the people that were replying, offering to help, were it's just contributing to the problem.
Yes.
Like I know at one point, I don't want to,
Yes.
I'm not calling anybody out here, but just to mention, like Chris Breen had mentioned, like we got something in the works, but it's like, that's great too. But at the end of the day, we know that Chris has a business now and his customers are deck builders. It's like, there's no way for Legacy Decks or Legacy Academy to put on an event for deck builders that's going to be completely removed from what we're talking about either.
Yes.
Like, sure, it's not a deck board manufacturer, but it's the same thing.
Like he does it as a business. He's like, his whole thing is set up to be profitable for him.
Yeah. So it's great. Like, it's great that he's doing these events, and that's cool that there's that opportunity. That's all great, but it's not checking off the box that you're looking for, which is an unsponsored, authentic gathering of people who want to be there for no other reason other than to communicate and collaborate. And that's it. No ulterior motives, no hoping to like put somebody into a lead pipeline. No, you know what I mean? Just like nothing but
not even that. Like, Chris's thing is about making both individuals and both the individual and their business better. And he's very passionate about it. I believe he's very good at it.
Yeah.
And my whole thing was about making my thing is like, I want to do something that's about making the industry better.
Right.
Yeah, I think,
and like I said, I think you need to, and that's, I guess that was my thing with like the manufacturers is like, don't sponsor it. Put the best guys in the country together in one room and let them have an honest discussion about what's good and what's bad with what they're using, and then learn from it.
Yes.
And let the guys that are out there innovating and the guys that you're using for your marketing materials, like they have ideas and there's certainly, no one product serves everybody's needs.
Yeah.
But let the best guys in the country talk about what's good and what's bad. And if you're a manufacturer, just shut up and listen, and maybe you can take something back that's going to make your product better.
Yeah. What's ultimately going to happen though is people are going to have hurt feelings, right? And nobody likes hurt feelings. Like, you're going to get in that room and somebody is going to come out of there as the worst deck board, right? Like, you're going to have a whole room of people that are using multiple boards and they're using them in multiple different ways. And ultimately there's going to be one board that people are like, this is no good. And
yeah, I don't know.
Nobody
There's
wants
ever a consensus on anything.
maybe not.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's true, because I mean, look at the, like we talked about, look at the camps that are set up where, you know, there's certain guys that no matter what, you're not going to sway them that what they're using is the best.
Oh man, I would have never agreed to that statement until I saw Johnny Huck move, and now I know anyone can move, because he was like pro Trex, and now
Right.
he's as far away from Trex as anybody could ever be. Right? But
even then, like, if you're convinced what you're using, be it Trex, TimberTech, Decorators, Moisture Shield, whatever, like, every manufacturer out there has room to do something better.
yes.
So let the guys that use the stuff and are trying to push the industry have a voice where they're not going to be punished, and take some of that knowledge to make everybody's product better. And that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and so I was going to say unfortunate news, but I don't know that it's unfortunate. It's just the reality of it. If it's something you want to do, it's going to be like, you're going to have to do it. We can't expect other people to step up and make that happen, but then get nothing out of it. It's not their baby that they're
Right.
looking for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We can put that out there and complain that nobody's doing it, but it's like, well, then do it. Like, if we want this to really happen, then it's got to be Scott, Shane, and Wade to do it.
Yep.
We can't be like, this is
Yeah.
crappy that nobody does something like this, and then everybody's like, yeah, it sucks. It's like, well, then if you want it to be organic, it's going to have to be organic people putting in their own time to make it happen,
Right.
rather than expecting others to do it for us. Because as soon as you do that,
Right.
then somebody
And
else
I
who's
think
not passionate about it.
kind of what I was going back to, is that, you know, I can't, I guess I feel like all I can do is say, like, this is my frustration. I would like to do this. Who wants to join?
Who's in? Yeah.
Like, I can't, I can't, if some guy can command $2,500 to go to dinner, it's not my, it's not my place to tell him to not do that, so you can come hang out with me for free and talk shop.
Yeah. And the problem, again, that you've already identified is that we can decide that we're going to do this, and we can get a few people on board and say, like, okay, we don't want to force people into a separate trip for this, so let's do it around an event where everybody's gonna be around anyway, and do it at Deck Expo. But then you run back into the machine where it's like, well, we can't do it Thursday night because TimberTech's doing their thing Thursday night, and you're gonna miss 20% of people to that, and Decker's doing their thing Wednesday night, so you're gonna miss a bunch of people to that. So once again, everybody's torn in different directions because of these corporate sponsorships. Even if our event isn't sponsored, it's still impacted by everything else going on. So it's,
Correct.
I don't know what the solution is. Unless you were to do it on like the day after the show, and you plan it early enough that people can plan to stay an extra day or come in an extra day early or something, right? And be like, we're going to do this thing for whatever, 3 hours on.
Or,
Sunday.
we've all been there. There's like, nobody spends the entire day. Nobody walks the entire show for the entire day, multiple days. So,
and then the vendors are all busy at their booths. I like where your head's at here.
Could be during the day.
Yeah, I mean, really, you could, especially at Deck Expo. Like, shit, you can see that whole show in about 2 hours.
Yeah,
unless you care about the hot tubs and the pools.
So you just disappear for a lunch somewhere, or and I think going back to like Nadra, I think Pops made a comment about that they have a room, and like I don't know if they do. I know they had like a common area for everybody last year, sort of right there at the front, but I don't know if there's an actual like separate conference room that they maintain.
Yeah.
But if there is, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, it's like,
even if it's just an open invite where it's like, okay, look, man, we're gonna go to whatever restaurant by the convention center at 8:00 for breakfast. And it's because you got to pay your own way because there is the corporate people aren't allowed.
Yeah, so I like that idea more because I think the idea of just putting us into a stale room and forcing it to happen, it's like, all right, everybody at 2:00 and you walk in this room and everybody's standing around waiting and be like, well, who's running this show?
What's the agenda? So
there's an agenda that needs to happen, right?
I'm sitting here being like, well, how does this all get kicked off?
Exactly.
How does it start?
What we're all missing is sitting around a table with 20 dudes eating wings, having a few beers, and letting it organically happen.
Yep.
That's all this needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Maybe we need to stop worrying about how many people are going to be there and just do it and be like, the ones that care enough to be there
so
theirs is the input that matters.
I was thinking that. I was just like staring off as you guys were talking, and I was like, it doesn't matter to me if all these other guys go to their dinners. I want to be
with people who want to be
I want to be with people who I want you to want me. Right? So that's who I want there. I want people that are genuinely care about discussing openly different products and how they could make the world better. And
maybe an argument could be made that if somebody is like, I can't be there because I have these other commitments with whatever. Yeah. Well, maybe that's
good.
Maybe their head is not in the right place for what we're trying to do anyway.
Correct.
You've already got a bias that you're not going to be able to think around.
Yep.
So I don't know.
Yep.
No,
I think you're spot on. And I know, Leif at Cass made that comment on that thread about that what he's looking for is like sort of what you said, but he was like, I like the idea of like a campfire thing where it's you're just there, you're just there with the guys whose company you enjoy and you're talking about whatever.
We should go on a helicopter hog hunt and then have a campfire out in the desert. Pay your own way.
So,
right.
We can
kind of work at this. Why can't we?
Why don't we just pick a night? Who cares? Don't even get 30 guys in a chat and pull like what night works best. Let's just pick a night and be like, whatever, Tuesday. Yeah. Tuesday night, we're going to go to wherever. Doesn't matter.
Yep.
Dick's Last Resort. Whatever it is.
That's a fun place.
We're going to go there. Whoever wants to join us, we're going to go there and like do some old school, just like hanging out, chatting, talking shop.
Yep.
Whoever wants to join us, join us.
Yep.
And if it ends up just being Scott, Shane, and Wade, fine.
That's okay. Levi will probably come for a bit.
But maybe it ends up being 20. Maybe it ends up being 20 dudes.
Yeah, Haney will be there.
Yeah.
Haney will be there. Kevin will be there.
Yeah. And that's the group I want, right? The guys that are just around just to chat.
Look at us. We're just solving problems. Solving the world's problems.
Yeah. I don't think we are.
That's why
we should do is figure out if we could rent that cigar bar we all went to.
Oh yeah. Sat outside by those yep, that was a really good spot.
How many would you like to reserve for? I don't know, 3 to 45. Well, we can't do that. Well, we don't know who's going to show up. But anyway, it's not like there's a shortage of bars.
Right. I think you're onto it there, though. That's what it is. You just say, all right, here's the time, here's the place. FYI, you got to pay your own way because this is about friends getting together, not the quote unquote friends getting together.
Yeah. And it doesn't even have to be shop the whole time. Like I would just talk about anything. Like we talk about.
Well, that's part of strengthening the industry though, right? Yeah. Is that we're investing in each other as people.
Yeah.
And you know what? If this thing started to pick up some heat where it's like there's a bunch of guys going, all of a sudden some people would start to weigh their options a little bit. It'd be like, well, they were going to go to this vendor event that they had planned, but like, geez, I really don't want to miss out on just like hanging out with the industry people too.
Could do it right on Fremont Street. We could do a pub crawl on Fremont Street.
whatever. Like,
right?
so there's no shortages of places to
Start
do it
at the
It's like pick
yeah.
a place, whatever.
Start at the one end and
Yep.
make your way to the other. And some people can ride the zip line to get to the last bar, and some people.
Well,
Walk.
maybe we should take this offline, Scott, and we can kind of figure out, because if we get in early enough too, maybe if the vendors see that something's picking up heat too, then we can get a sponsor for it. No,
That's what it's all about, right?
Well, maybe they just sponsor us.
but no, I mean,
Or
maybe
it's like-
if you're early enough and they see something happening, they plan around it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like all of a sudden there's 30, 40 guys that they would like to have at their things too. And they're like, oh, but that whole organic thing's happening Tuesday night, so maybe we should do ours a different night. We might be too late to have that happen now. We're heading into September and it's in a couple months. I don't know. Maybe we're not.
Maybe we're not.
Right.
We might be able
2
to put
months
something
out.
together. So
I don't know. None of the official announcements have come out yet, I don't think. So
Right.
Yeah.
So we can disrupt that.
certainly we can. Yeah, and I think it
Yeah.
the intent is right behind that. So okay. Well, my next question on there was how do we fix it? But I think that's so done. Now we fixed it.
Naturally went there.
I was like, what's wrong with the industry? And then I was like, how do we fix it? And then, well, now we did.
So why don't we take us offline? We'll start up a little Instagram group or
Yep.
some sort of chat. The three of us for now.
I
As
was like,
guys show interest,
leave me out of the chat because they're just so busy.
you can silence it. Add people in. Right.
Yeah.
And if somebody's listening to this podcast and is like, that sounds like that's because there's so many guys too who are like, they want to go to Deck Expo to meet people. Like people haven't been there before. You see those posts every once in a while. It's like I saw a post recently and somebody was talking about Deck Expo in one of these Facebook groups. And there's a couple of guys that were like, wait, there's like a whole expo just for deck guys. Like they didn't even know about the expo yet, but they were deck builders. There's like, they've been living in a hole. And so they are wanting to come there and potentially meet certain people or be like, get into the community a little bit. Right. But if it's hard when it's like, oh, I'm going to go there. I want to meet all these people. And then they show up there and they don't have allegiances to anybody yet. So they're just like standing around and be like, what's going on tonight, guys? Oh, we're going to Decorators. We're going to Trex. We're going to Timber Tech. We're going to Fortress. It's like, oh, okay. We're going to go to like, we're just going to hang out by ourselves. And they don't actually get to do what they came there to do, which was to mingle with all the people they've been following.
Yep. Yeah. So Shane and I actually like for, I don't know, the last few years we've gone to events and we've taken podcast equipment and we've done all these we've done events where we had to be at things, and we just recently went down to IBS and we didn't take anything. It was sweet. It was so good to just not have to be on a schedule, not have to be somewhere at a certain time.
And I've always been hesitant to commit to things that we're invited to because I don't want to get tied in because of exactly what Scott's saying. Like, I want to go down there and mingle with everybody. So I don't like to be like, oh yeah, for sure we'll go for supper with so-and-so on Wednesday night, because then it what if something organic is happening and I want to go do that instead? But the problem is that it hasn't been. The organic part hasn't been happening.
Yeah.
So I'm continuing to not commit to things, waiting for that organic thing to happen. That it just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So then you're just kind of left floating.
And I'm on the other end. I'm committing to one night, whatever, we get an invite from Trex to go shoot guns, and it's like, okay, then let's go shoot guns. And you hang out with a bunch of guys from Trex and some of the installers that do that, and you get to visit with those guys. And then it's drinks with decorators. And then it's I forget what Timber Tech did. They had a studio or something, right? And we ended up at a Timber Tech event, and we visited with those guys. And, so I find myself kind of trying to go to each of them because I genuinely want to talk to everyone in the industry. That's why we started doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
And so now, instead of being like, well, I'll just wait for it to organically happen, I was just putting myself into all those events. I was like, go here, go here, go here.
Yeah.
And some of the most fun nights are when we were on the patio, and it was whatever, there was 5 or 6 of us sitting around drinking scotch, smoking cigars, just chatting.
Yeah.
They're doing hat swaps, trade,
Totally.
just having a blast, man.
Right.
So, okay. Well, good. The homework from this is Shane and Scott will plan it then.
Nope. No, I got too much shit to do.
Yeah, but we'll poke around. Let's find something to do. I think that'd be a good event. And the only people that are actually going to do this is ones that give a shit about it. And so that turns out it's us. So let's do it. The 3 of us, right?
Yeah.
Just the 3 of us.
Yeah. There's more than just us that cares, that's for sure.
100%. But like everybody's busy. Nobody and nobody's going to feel like they're in a position where they should step forward and try to run something anyway. Like not many people are comfortable organizing things.
Yeah.
So it's like whatever. Like
Right.
I certainly have no problem with it. So we'll just let it organically happen. We'll start the group and we'll just see where it goes.
Yeah. Could be even Top Golf. You have an event to do, you know, you're like, get some stuff to do. And it's a big enough space. And, you know, you just go to Top Golf and people can come and go at their leisure.
Yeah.
It's like show up, have a few drinks, hit the balls, leave.
Yeah.
So
Then who's going to pay the bill, Wade?
you're
You're going to get stuck with the bill at the end.
the vendors. So,
All right, Scott, was there anything else you wanted to chat about before we hang this up?
I think we're good, man.
anything, nothing else bugging you? It's not leading. It was just yeah.
No, I think we're good.
Okay.
Sounds like there's things there he wants to save for another day. He's like, I know we're already over the
I'm
hour.
gonna get onto this podcast again.
Right. We're not doing a 2-episoder, so
No,
Yeah.
we're good for now.
Sounds good, man. Okay, well, we're going to see you in November for sure. I don't even know the dates yet. We should start looking at booking hotels and stuff. But if anybody's listening to this and wants more information or to be kept in the loop with whatever might come from this, whatever little organic meetup is going to come from this, then just shoot the Ultimate Deck Shop a message or Precision Construction, one of us, and we'll get you joined into the group and like we'll just see where it goes.
Yep.
So anyways, that sounds like a heck of a plan, Scott. Thanks for joining us today. Appreciate it, buddy. Take care.
Hey, thank you for listening to the Ultimate Deck Podcast. Now you know what we're about. Check the site, come and shop. UltimateDeckShop.com. Hit us right away for sponsorships or tell us if you want to collaborate. Let's go. Check us out on any social networks. Thank you for listening.